Yes, hello and welcome back to B&B's Football Happy Hour. I am Bobby, and as always, joined by my man Brian.
What's up, man? Glad to be back. Tackling the off-season chatter, I guess you could say here. We'll try to get out a little content to the people, so see what we got coming up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please make sure you check out our sponsor, www.thediaperdust.com. Got a sale going on this month, ends at the end of February. $10 per bottle. That's it. That includes shipping. Not going to beat that deal to get rid of all those nasty, disgusting diapers you have in your house or a friend's house or a relative's house. Whoever has kids, you need it. Only $10 for the rest of this month. So get on it quick. www.thediaperdust.com. And as always, our beats are provided by Dunson. Now, Brian, I know we're going to talk about the Carson Wentz trade and the ongoing Deshaun Watson trade talk. And maybe we'll get into a few other topics. We'll just see how time goes. What do you think about that?
All right, let's do it. Let's talk about our beloved Wentz.
Yeah, well, beloved is an interesting word to use, but on February 18th, the Philadelphia Eagles traded Carson Wentz to the Indianapolis Colts for a 2021 third-round pick and a conditional 2022 second-round pick that could become a first-rounder if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps for Indianapolis or 70% of the snaps and the Colts make the playoffs. Basically, as long as Carson stays healthy, doesn't blow it again this year like he did last year, that second-round pick is going to turn into a first. So honestly, I personally think it was a good deal for both sides. The Colts, they're gambling on a player who has shown he can be one of the best QBs in the league, especially under his boy Frank Reich, who obviously is the head coach for the Colts. And I don't know. The Eagles end up with most likely a first-round pick, a little bit more, that third-rounder. And the Colts, they have a ton of money to spend. Philly doesn't. And if the Colts end up in the playoffs, they won't care about losing that first-round pick anyway.
Yeah, first glance, when this came through, I was a little upset. I mean, I'm glad we kind of got rid of him. I think it needed to happen. Carson kind of just he wore out his welcome in Philly. The silence, I think, was the biggest thing for me. Just him, I don't know, just not coming out and saying anything, you know what I mean, about the new coach. And I don't know, just the silence spoke volumes to me. Didn't mean, he didn't want to be here. So I guess we'll let him go to where he wants to go. Apparently the Bears apparently offered a better deal, but nobody really knows what that deal was, I guess. But he ends up in the Colts. And like you said, with your boy Frank Reich, Frank Reich, I guess a good spot for Wentz. I mean, at first I wasn't happy with the return. It doesn't really do a whole lot for us this year. I mean, an extra third-round pick with, some of the guys that, Howie drafts probably won't amount to an all-pro or anything next year. But, maybe it'll be a serviceable starter or something like that you would hope for. But the 2022 conditional pick, to me, I mean, once you start looking into it, like you said, I think it will turn into a late, probably first-round pick because I can see the Colts obviously making the playoffs. So in that case, Wentz would have to play, 70% of the snaps. So, I mean, that's definitely doable barring an injury. You know what I'm saying? So
we just need him to stay healthy, something he has not been very good at.
He likes to get hurt late in the year because I did look at it. And in 2016, he played 100% of the games. I think he's only not played 70% of the games one time. In 2018, he played 66%. Even this year, being benched for 4 games, he played 72% of the snaps. So as long as he plays, I guess what he's looking at, maybe 11 to 12 games. I'll be a Carson Wentz fan until that point. Hopefully he stays out there. Then after that, I'll wish him well and not worry about him. Only talk about him on this show and, hopefully not talking about all the touchdowns he's throwing, but we'll see. I mean, I think overall for Wentz, he's a good guy. I mean, he's a good person, but
is he? All these reports come out that
it's weird.
He's not coachable. He won't, when the coach tries to correct something, he doesn't listen to him. He still kind of does his own thing. I read a report somewhere that said it was 8 or 9 weeks that Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson, besides on the field on game day, did not speak. I don't know how you're a quarterback in the NFL and you don't speak to your head coach.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I mean, this
What
whole
if they,
thing's yeah. I mean, this whole thing stems from drafting Jalen Hurts. I think. I mean, I think that's when it all started. I mean, once they
well,
drafted Jalen Hurts, I think he could kind of. I mean, some things might have been brewing in the locker room prior to that, but I think that kind of took the cake for him. And I mean, like you said, I think he started kind of acting a little bit childish, maybe in the locker room. If that was the case, I mean, if you're a professional athlete getting paid $20+ million and you can't even talk to your head coach, I mean, that's just not a guy
not,
that you would want on your team. But
yeah.
we'll see what happens. And it's kind of weird to me too. The Eagles trade Wentz, and then the reports come out instantly that they still might be looking to take a quarterback at 6. So not really, instilling the most confidence in the Jalen Hurts, which is kind of weird to me in a way. You can take it either way. I mean, you can take it as they want him to keep grinding and to keep doing his thing. So they don't want him to think just like, we're not just going to hand you the keys and you're the guy. There's going to have to be some kind of competition. But in the back of his head, he has to know that, the job's more than likely his at this point. But or you can take it as, I mean, maybe they are going to take a QB at number 6, which I hope they don't. But you never know. I guess you never know. I don't know. Howie Roseman, what do you say? We're a QB factory or something like that, which is kind of weird to say. But I don't think he meant it in the terms of what it was said. But he definitely did say that. But
For me, if the Eagles take a quarterback at 6, that is an absolute nightmare. I like Hurts, and I want to see what he's got. He was better than Wentz in every category last year, except completion percentage. Wentz completed 57% of his passes, and Hurts was 52%. But Hurts had a lower interception percentage. Hurts' yards per attempt were more than a yard better than Wentz, and Hurts had a lower sack percentage. This is all with the same supporting cast, and Hurts is just thrown in the starting lineup as a rookie. Wentz has had time to work with these guys, way more time with Hurts, especially with that weird COVID offseason. I don't know how much face-to-face time Hurts even had with this guy. So let's roll with Hurts after a full offseason. And now, look, it's going to be a brand new offense, new playbook, all that stuff with these new coaches. But changing offenses in college didn't hurt. I mean, well, I got stats right here for Hurts. And I know I brought this up before, but going from Alabama to Oklahoma, just his senior year at Oklahoma, after changing teams, changing states, obviously brand new coach, brand new offense, 3,800 passing yards, 32 passing touchdowns, plus 1,300 rushing yards and 21 rushing touchdowns. If you look at just his stats, Jalen Hurts is one of the best collegiate football players in history. I mean, he's got almost 9,500 passing yards, 80 passing touchdowns, 20 picks, and he's got 3,300 rushing yards and 44 rushing touchdowns. Those numbers are absurd. Get this guy a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I like Hurts. I mean, he definitely needs to progress a little bit as a thrower, I think, in the NFL, but that'll come with time. I mean, like you said, those numbers are crazy. So, but my thing is, why not? I mean, why not just give him the chance? Give him this whole year, this whole next year. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So the worst case scenario. I mean, yeah, worst case scenario. You know what I'm saying? The Eagles aren't. If he's not that good and he doesn't play well, then you're going to have another whatever top 10 pick maybe. And then if the Carson Wentz thing, if he plays, you're going to have 2 first-round picks. So then you can trade those 2 first-round picks for a quarterback that's in the league already. Or whoever shines this year in college football, then you move up and you take that guy and you roll with that guy as your franchise guy moving forward. And then you would have to trade Hurts, which even if he has one bad year this year and they want to move on from him, I mean, he's still going to demand. I don't know. You would think you would still get something decent in return for Jalen Hurts. I mean, a second or third round pick, possibly, depending on how he plays. But yeah, I don't know why you can't just say, he's the guy, throw him some confidence and put some guys around him, because the Eagles are losing. I mean, they just cut Deshaun Jackson, obviously, because of the salary cap situation that they're in. They're going to get rid of Alshon Jeffrey. So, I mean, why not help him with a young receiver or somebody like that, a young skill player to help him a little bit? And, you have Miles Sanders, you have Hurts, they can both run. So maybe we'll use Miles Sanders a little bit more this year. We'll run the ball a little bit more. Hurts will run the ball a lot this year. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But we obviously need to bring in another quarterback. But I mean, picking somebody at number 6 to me is not. It's just a waste. I mean, it's a waste
So
of a pick. So
you mentioned having, if Wentz does what he's supposed to do, we have 2 first-round picks next year with Indianapolis, getting their pick. I'm
yes.
going to take your 2 first-round picks next year, and I'm
Mhm.
going to raise you one. So a couple of days ago, I was talking to a friend of our show, Kevin Reynolds, and he made a good point that I think is very interesting. So, Brian, let me ask you, do the Eagles have any chance of being good this year?
I don't think they have a chance to win the division. I mean, at best, I can see them maybe, I don't know, 7-9 or 8-8, maybe at the
Okay.
best.
Right. 7-9 is
For
about my
right, yeah, for
ceiling
right now,
right
yeah.
now. So here's the deal. Just go all in for a complete rebuild. They're in salary cap purgatory, and
Mm-hmm.
there's not a ton of talent top to bottom on this roster. There really isn't. And I would bet that there's going to be at least one of the top 4 QBs where the Eagles are picking in the draft at 6. One of those top 4 guys is going to be there. So why not trade down and acquire more
Mm-hmm.
cheaper picks? Because that number 6 pick salary, granted, it's not as much as it used to be, but it's still going to be a lot more expensive than if you trade back. Each spot you drop saves you some money, and you can start filling your roster with perhaps not game changers, like you said earlier about we might we might be able to get some starters later on in the draft, but good pieces that help you solidify a team that is
Yeah.
pretty bereft of talent.
Yeah, I mean, you can get younger, cheaper guys. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, in the draft,
I got the
that would
perfect.
work.
I got the perfect scenario for you, I think, and I think it works well for both teams involved. Now, Wentz almost went to Chicago,
Mhm.
supposedly. He did not. So how about we call up Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace on the phone again, and we say, hey, Chicago, we're sitting here at 6. If Trey Lance is on the board, I think that would be a perfect pick for Chicago. So let's just say theoretically, Chicago gives us their 20. We give them our number 6 pick. Chicago gives us their second round pick this year, which is like 52nd overall, and next year's first to jump 14 spots all the way to 6 to get Trey Lance. And I'll tell you why Trey Lance would be good for them, because everybody in America knows that both Nagy and Pace, their days are numbered in Chicago. But if they go and get a guy like Trey Lance, he's not going to be great right out of the gates. So they're going to need to take the Josh Allen route. This year, Josh Allen was one of the best quarterbacks in the league. It was his 3rd season. So if Nagy and Pace can talk to the Bears brass and get them to buy into, hey, Lance is our number 1 quarterback on our board, whether he is or not. If we get him, we're going to need time to develop him. They might be able to buy themselves another 2 or 3 years, even if they're not successful this year, so that they can, take that Josh Allen route and they can develop Trey Lance, because he's definitely going to need some fine tuning and some refining once he makes it to the NFL. I think that's beautiful. And if that happens, there's 3 first-round picks next year for the Eagles. I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if they were going to offer next year's first and this year's 2, I mean, I'd probably do that just to move down 14 spots. I
And
mean,
they're going up. Now, granted, if you look at the trade compensation chart with draft picks, it doesn't equal out. However, we're going for QBs here, and QBs are worth way more than other positions out there on the field. So I think that's decent for both teams involved.
yeah, I mean, obviously it saves the Eagles money. Like you said, the 6th pick obviously requires more money than the 20th pick. So, and then in the next few years, I mean, we're going to free up money. We'll have more money over the next couple of years. You know what I mean? The salary cap will go up a little bit after this year, and we're going to clear some space. So you'll have that money next year, and then years coming to pay those first round picks. So that could work. Man, I was thinking about it. Like, the Eagles might be, I don't know if they're just kind of, you think they're just throwing out, we might pick a QB at 6 just to kind of scare some other
Yep.
teams maybe. I mean, I think, to me, it might be a little bit of fool's gold. I mean, I think behind the scenes, I think they're telling Hurts, like, you're the guy.
I hope so.
And then to the public, they're coming out and saying, well, we traded Wentz, but, and we have Jalen Hurts, but we still might take a QB at 6 because they want those teams to then jump ahead of them. And then maybe they can move back. What if you even move back 3 or 4 spots? I mean, for the team to jump ahead of the Eagles to take a QB because they're scared that the Eagles might take them, we could still end up with our guy at, 10 or 11 or 12 or something like that. And then, you're still paying, a lesser salary and whatnot. So I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, if you're the Eagles, why not? Why not put it out there?
Mhm.
If you can drive up the price of your pick,
Yeah.
please do.
Because at 6, realistically, you're not getting Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, you're not going to probably get Zach Taylor. Everybody's falling in love with that kid. So you're looking at Trey Lance or Justin Fields. I mean, if you're just going to stay at 6, I mean, those guys, if you want to take a QB, they're probably the two guys that are going to be there. Are you going to take Mac Jones from Alabama? And now you're going to take him at number 6. So
That'd be Daniel Jones all over again.
it's Fields or Trey Lance. So are you going to trade a QB from North Dakota State just to draft another one from North Dakota State and see if that works out again? I don't know. I don't want to do that. Just that's bad karma to me. I mean, Trey Lance is like we talked about last week. Kid's played 1 year, so I don't know if I want to go that route. So and then you got Justin Fields, who to me is like a poor man's Jalen Hurts. I mean, he's Jalen Hurts, but not as good to me. So why would you pick him? I don't know.
Dude, I hear you, man.
I don't understand.
Listen, I am all for anyone but QB, any position except QB right there. I'm not really feeling tight end either. I know Kyle Pitts is a game changer, and he'd be pretty nasty lined up there with Dallas Goedert and everything, but definitely not QB. Not for me.
I mean, the only thing I hate about this trade is obviously the Eagles are now going to eat, the single most dead cap salary in NFL history. I think it's like $34 million. I think by trading Wentz, we saved like $1 million. So didn't really. I mean, that's on Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie to make that deal. But I mean, I looked at it. So if the salary cap is going to be $180 million and you're going to pay Carson Wentz, I mean, if that's going to count against $34 million, you're looking at 19% of your cap is going to be to a guy that doesn't play on your team, which is, I mean, it's going to be hard to win regardless. But when you're playing a guy almost 20% that's not even on your team, I mean, you're not looking at a good year. So I look at it like that. And I mean, just all these other guys as well, like the Deshaun Jacksons, the Alshon Jeffries, like just by cutting those guys doesn't mean we save all of that salary. You know what I'm saying? We still there's still dead cap money there associated with those players as well. So, Zach Ertz, Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson. They even talked about they might cut Jason Kelsey, which is crazy to me I don't know, just because they need to clear space. You're going to, I mean, his name probably to me shouldn't even come up, but I don't know. It's going to be a rough year. I mean, there's going to be a lot of young dudes playing for our Eagles, man, and it's going to be a tough couple of years, I think, before they can rebuild this thing. And
right, all in on the rebuild, man. All in on the rebuild. Don't give me a QB at 6.
No,
stick with Hurts.
You got to go. I don't know, man. I guess you have to go either receiver or. I don't know.
We have plenty of time for
Parsons.
mock draft talk. Plenty of time for mock.
The one thing, I mean, my one last point on this, I think the Eagles could have threw in Zach Ertz in that deal. If you're going to cut him anyway, why not just sweeten the pot and say, hey, you can have Carson Wentz and Zach Ertz. What's Indianapolis going to say no? I mean, what were they going to deny that trade? Or they could have threw in another, I don't know, maybe you could have got another 4th round pick this year or something like that if you threw in Ertz or something like that. So if you're going to cut the guy, why not? I mean, maybe they tried, but I mean, why would the Colts turn that down? Just, I mean, they could use a guy like Zach Ertz. So
Ertz is still a movable piece, though. I think they'll be able to ship him out somewhere for something.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, he is, but I don't think trading him by himself brings back more. I mean, I think if you were to just trade Zach Ertz, I don't think anybody's giving us more than a 5th or 6th round pick.
Right.
So you might have been able to throw him in that deal if they really wanted Wentz. They could have used that piece right there and been like, well, we'll give you Zach Ertz, but you got to give us this year's 4th round pick, which probably won't amount to nothing, but at least it's a higher pick than you'll probably get from trading him just by himself. But we'll see what happens. I don't know.
I hear you. Well, moving on to the next blockbuster possible trade happening with a QB, Deshaun Watson. There's been so many rumors about this guy. Peter King wrote a great article on possible Watson trade scenarios. Some are crazy and would take a lot in order to come to fruition, but they are interesting nonetheless. The biggest takeaway I got from this article that I read was that the Jets possibly not being one of the most likely landing spots for the somehow only 25 years old franchise quarterback. Joe
Mhm.
Douglas and his team very much believe in building through the draft, and giving up a ton of draft capital might not be very high on their list of things they want to do, especially giving a roster that's bottom 5 in the league in terms of talent. So I thought the Jets were my number one spot for him, given how much draft capital and ammo they have. However, if Joe Douglas, if he's taking the Green Bay Packer route and he wants to, build from within, that deal might not happen.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, at first, I guess you heard a lot about the Jets, so I thought that was definitely a possibility. But I don't know. I mean, if Joe Douglas wants to roll that way, I mean, I guess they're going to roll with Sam Darnold, I guess. Or, I mean,
Well, there's trade talks on him
yeah, I
as
don't.
well.
Maybe there's multiple pieces for that deal. I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah, I did hear. We were talking before the show. I mean, I think either Deshaun Watson or somebody in his camp came out and said that the only 3 teams he'll waive the no trade clause for are the Jets, Panthers, and Dolphins. So, yeah, I don't know. I've been hearing a lot about Panthers.
Same.
Um, I've been reading a lot about Panthers. They're saying they're clearing up a bunch
They're
of space.
cutting everybody.
They're cutting everybody to clear space to pay Deshaun Watson. They've even maybe rumored to even throw in McCaffrey in the deal, which to me, I mean,
Here's the problem with that. They're already paying David Johnson, and they're not going to be able to have both those running backs on the team. I mean, they could always cut David Johnson, but still, that's a hefty
yeah.
paycheck to be given out to your running back every week.
Yeah, I mean, you could still make that trade, and then you could just trade Deshaun, or you can trade David Johnson for peanuts if you have to. I mean, I
I'm
don't
not
know.
sure anybody would want him.
You can get somebody to take him, I'm sure. I mean, not for much, but
I wouldn't mind seeing him in Seattle, to be honest with you.
yeah, I mean, either they could cut him, but I mean, if they're not looking for a ton in return, which when a team, I mean, if a team knows that you obviously just traded for Christian McCaffrey, you obviously probably don't need David Johnson, obviously, so you're not going to get much back. But I mean, I think they can maybe get, I don't know, a late pick for maybe David Johnson if they had to trade him. But I don't know. I mean, that'd be good in Carolina. I mean, I'm not being down living in Carolina. I kind of don't want to hear about that all year, about Deshaun Watson playing for everybody for the Panthers. But I don't know if that makes them like obviously doesn't make them some Super Bowl contender. If you're, I mean, especially if you're going to get rid of McCaffrey. I mean, if you were going to say we were going to get Deshaun Watson and it was going to be Watson with McCaffrey and some of those other guys, I mean, it'd be a lot more enticing to me. But I guess they would roll with what, Mike Davis and then Deshaun Watson, and you're going to trade a ton of picks. You're going to trade McCaffrey, and I don't know, just a bunch of draft capital. I don't know. It just doesn't.
So looking at David Johnson's contract, it would only be $2.1 million in dead money if they cut him.
Yeah.
So
yeah, if you get Christian McCaffrey, I mean, he might as well just start packing his bags. Yeah, and then the Dolphins thing. I mean, if we're going to talk these 3 teams, I mean, the Dolphins, I guess they would have to throw in Tua in that deal. I mean, that was kind of the first report, I think, right off of ESPN. After Deshaun Watson said he wanted to get traded, they were saying something like he would go to Miami. That was the only spot that was mentioned. And then ESPN threw it out there that, well, obviously it would be Tua and a bunch of draft picks for Deshaun Watson. So I don't know.
For me, the longer this thing drags on, the more I don't think a trade is going to happen. Simply, I just keep finding more reasons for teams not to trade for Watson. We already talked about the Jets. With the Panthers, they're a young team too, and they made some big moves last year as far as the defense goes. With the draft with Jeremy Chin, Derek Brown on the defensive front. So, man, giving away so many draft picks for a young team that's with a young, brand new coach this past year, Matt Rule. I don't know. I'm just not. I see more negatives now. Look, Deshaun Watson is a legit franchise QB that could be your quarterback for the next 10 years. But so in Peter King's article, he wrote that Watson could end up being the most a team has ever paid for a player in a trade if somebody wanted to go get Watson. And you brought up the Dolphins. Why would a team like the Dolphins, who are, again, young, up and coming, why would they give away so many draft picks and future young, talented players for Watson, especially if they like Tua, which, they say they do. Obviously, they have to say that. But, I mean, granted, Tua is not Watson. But on a team with a really good defense and a decent running game, they have money to spend this offseason too, to bolster their roster. And they have, I think, the most draft capital of any team out there. So Tua might not have to be Watson for the Dolphins to, push for a title. Now, maybe not next year, but, years after.
Yeah, I don't see why they would have. I mean,
they were 6th in scoring defense and 1st in the league in turnovers.
Yeah, the Dolphins were 10-6. They were that team. They were like the last man out in the AFC.
Right.
I mean, they were the odd man out in that whole like 3-team race there at the end of the year. So I mean, they very well should have been in the playoffs, but they fell short a little bit based off of, I don't know, conference records and all that and whatnot. So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, the best fit is the Jets. I mean, the best fit to me is not the Panthers because you're going to have to trade the picks and McCaffrey, so I don't like that deal. And then to the Dolphins, I mean, he would make the Dolphins better, but you're going to have to give up a ton of picks and Tua and who knows what else. I mean, they might have to throw in another player or so. So to me, that doesn't make sense. But maybe the Dolphins, I mean, since they're going to give up Tua, I mean, maybe they have to offer him probably less than any other team, you know what I'm saying, as far as draft picks, because I mean, you're giving them your first-round pick from last year. You're giving them Tua, so
5th overall pick. So you're basically giving them, if the Dolphins give up their first-round pick, the number 3 overall, that's supposed to be Houston's anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's
the 3rd overall pick and the 5th overall pick in back-to-back drafts.
Yeah, I mean that's their selling point. You know what I'm saying? Like they're going to say, "Well, we're giving you last year's 5th-round pick, therefore we're not giving you like 3 years of first-round picks." You know what I'm saying? You're going to get Tua, who's going to be your starting quarterback, plus maybe 1 or 2 other, multiple picks, but maybe not as many first-round picks. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, to me, like you said, the longer this thing happens, I feel like he has a better chance of sitting out the whole year than to get traded. So I think if he's really feels the way he feels, I think, and they don't want to, and the right deal doesn't come in, I don't think he's going to get traded if this keeps dragging on, into the next couple months. I don't know. Would Deshaun Watson? Would he sit out? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, or will he just?
Well, I mean, Watson, he's signed through what, 2024 or something like that.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
if that's the case and he wants out, he's going to have to sit. I mean, a lot, because if he sits out, his contract doesn't toll to the next year. Yeah. So it's, man, I'm telling you, the Houston Texans have all of. I mean, they have everything. They're the ones in charge. They have all of the leverage, and there's nothing Deshaun Watson can do. He signed through 2025.
Didn't he just sign? He just signed the extension like 5 months ago, didn't he?
I know. I think it was. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing he can do. If they want him to stay, he has to stay or retire. If they never give up, it's Barry Sanders all over again. I mentioned that before on the show.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to have to expand maybe his no trade clause teams. I guess he might have to give them a list of 10 teams. I mean, to give them, like you said, he doesn't have that much leverage. So to then only to say, I only want to be traded to these 3 teams. I mean, if the Texans come out and say, well, we're not in love with any of the deals from those 3 teams you want to go to. So, we're not trading you. So then maybe he'll come back and say, maybe I'll play for, I don't know, these other 7 teams. And then they have you have more teams you have more, leverage, I guess, to get a better deal if you're the Texans. But overall, it's a bad situation. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what to think of it.
I mean, who else would even make the move? I mean, San Francisco,
maybe
Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, Joey Bosa. They have a lot of young talent, but you can't get rid of all of your talent to get in Deshaun Watson, because then there goes your roster.
Well, that's what I mean. You can't see. That's why I hate the Carolina thing, because
right.
So what are you going to do?
Throwing Brian Burns in there. Well, Brian Burns is one of your best young defensive players. You don't want to lose that guy. You want to build around it.
Okay, so I'm saying, so you're going to get Deshaun Watson, but then again, you're going to create these 3 other holes. So you're going to create the hole on the defensive end. You're going to create a running back situation, because I mean, Mike Davis was good, but I mean,
he's not Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey. So you obviously want him in the lineup over Mike Davis, right? So you're going to need another running back. So why create those extra holes? So you're going to create extra holes and you're going to give up draft capital just to get Deshaun Watson, which to me doesn't make any sense. So
Right. So you can't even fill those holes.
that's what I mean. So how are you going to fill them? You're just going to plug in guys that you have on your roster that couldn't start, last year and hope that they pan out or what? But I don't know. I don't know who brings the best offer. And I like Deshaun Watson, but I mean, I just don't kind of like how this whole thing played out. I mean, it might not be some of his fault, but I think it's 50-50 to me. I mean, if the Texans kind of, told him that they were going to involve him more in these, I guess, decisions and they didn't. And I guess that hurt his feelings and whatnot. And I don't know, but
if I'm the Jets, I know Peter King and others, don't think this could happen. If I'm the Jets and I say, look, we got 2 first-round picks this year, and they have 2 first-round picks next year with the Jamal Adams trade from Seattle. So they have Seattle's first-round pick this year and Seattle's first-round pick next year. So if they say, look, we'll give you 3 of those 4 plus Sam Darnold, I would do that if I'm the Jets.
Yeah.
Especially because I have so much money in free agency. I can figure out what are my biggest holes I need to fill. I'm not going to have any first-round picks this year. I'll have 1 next year, but I have money that I can make that move. Now, I don't know if I'm Houston, I don't think I would want more than that if I'm Houston. So that's probably not going to happen as far as Houston goes. But if I'm the Jets, I think that would be doable for me, but I don't know about much more than that. Again, like we said, the Jets don't have a talented roster. I do it for the Jets. Not sure I would take that if I'm Houston.
Yeah, I would do that. I mean, I would do. But to me, man, but then when you say that, like we talked about the Jets, like why are the Jets even one of his picks? Like
I think he wants to be in
why?
bigger. I think he wants to be in New York City. I think he wants the big market. I mean, Houston, it's a big market, but it's not New York City. I mean, he'd be all over billboards and everywhere in New York City. I think he wants that. I think he likes Salah, the new head coach, because he wanted the Texans to interview him and they didn't. So he probably wants to play for him.
I mean, like you said, though, their rosters, I don't know, it's pretty bad. So why?
But they have money to make it better.
Yeah, I guess if you get him, you'll attract other guys. I guess kind of like the NBA effect. I guess once he goes, all these other guys are going to want to go. Like all these guys want to play with Tom Brady. So yeah, I mean, I guess that works, but I don't know. It's a bad situation overall. I mean, I just don't like it because I don't know. It just sets bad precedent in the league, I think. You know what I'm saying? Guys demanding these trades and I don't know, kind of like they do in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? That James Harden I'm just going to sit out and not play for the Rockets anymore because I want to go to the Brooklyn Nets and, that's the only place I want to go to. And they just, give in and they trade him there. So I don't know. If it's going to be Deshaun Watson, it'll be somebody else next year. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I'm not sure the owners aren't loving this, obviously, but yeah, it's a tough situation. It's a tough deal, but I don't know. I mean, to me, I wouldn't get rid of them unless I'm getting multiple first-round picks or multiple starters and at least 1 first-round pick. I don't know.
Well,
other than that, I'll tell him to button up his chin strap and go out there. That's what we pay you for. So
that's right.
I don't know what else to tell him.
Well, we got 3 weeks until free agency. The legal tampering period is March 15th, starting at noon. And that's usually when we find out all the deals. That 2-day grace period before free agency actually starts. It actually starts the 17th at 4 p.m. But we basically know where most guys are going to go before the actual free agency starts with that legal tampering period. And so that's like the next big thing without the no combine this year. So without that, actually, I think the combine is supposed to be usually this week, right? Last week of February.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah,
because nice to watch. But anyway. So we got a couple more weeks of free agency to see if any of that happens, and then it's off to the draft after that. But I'm sure there'll be some news for us next week, and we'll have some good ideas and some good topics to hit on next week.
Yeah, we'll come up with something next week. Maybe there'll be some big news, like you said. I don't know. Maybe there'll be another trade, or maybe something else will happen, and we'll keep plugging away. We'll find stuff to talk about. So there's always something. So yeah.
Always. That's what I love about the NFL. Before we head out of here, again, make sure you check out our folks at www.thediaperdust.com. And $10 is it on sale just till the end of the month. So check it out. Get what you need. I know they're on Facebook and Instagram as well. Awesome folks there. So get your diaper dust.
Check it out. And like you said, we'll post a video to Facebook like we always do every week with our nice, brilliant intro that we have now. I guess you can give your guy a shout out there maybe at the end.
Yeah, Mr. Travis Such, one of our dedicated listeners, helping us out with that. So definitely hats off to him. The intro, the little video there, it just looks so much better.
Yeah,
so much better.
Much appreciated, and makes us look a little more official. So that's good stuff. So we'll keep plugging away, and Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Pandora, Spotify, any other I guess podcast platform, we're on there. So check us out, give us a follow, tell your friends about it, and we'll be back next week.
Got that right, man. And before we head out of here, last thing, happy 3rd birthday to my son Maddox, a big 3 years old today. So
yeah, that was a fun time.
Big birthday shout out to him.
Yep, fun time celebrating it this weekend. I know my two are still talking about the jump park Saturday thing was fun. So yeah, happy birthday, Maddox. And man, those kids grow up quick. I'll tell you. I don't know, man. I know it's Maddox is 3, and I don't know. I look back at pictures and stuff like that of my two, and it just seems like they were 3. You know what I'm saying, a couple of weeks ago, and now they're going to school and whatnot. So enjoy it, and happy birthday, Maddox.
Don't make me cry on air.
I know. We're leaving. So
All right. Thanks for listening, folks. See you later.
See you next week.